What's up, everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of GoTigers247 Film Room. I am your host, Christian Fowler, and joining me, as always, is former Memphis offensive lineman Gabe Kuhn, and we are back this week to break down Memphis's 42-6 victory over South Alabama. And Gabe, as usual, before we get started, what were your takeaways?
It was a shellacking. They absolutely killed them. I thought the offense didn't play quite a full game. Defense looked fantastic, as per normal actually this year. Adam Fowler, schemed really well against that South Alabama offense, took away what they like to do, and I think that was the key to the game.
Yeah, and something you talked about a lot was containing Cephas Johnson and that option that South Alabama likes to run, and
they did.
They did.
They had no chance.
I give them an A+ on containing Cephas Johnson, that option. So without further ado, Gabe, let's get into it.
Let's roll. Hopefully I'm not too happy with this reverse button for you. So first play here, JoJo opens up with a bang. An absolute bang. And let's pause it right here. And this is what I like. So South Alabama is really heavy with this jet motion action. And I like what Adam Fowler did, where he shifted away from the unbalanced look and brought his linebackers on the other side to take away that. And what you'll see here is they try to run a reverse, and JoJo stays at home, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we talked about in our preview of it, they wanted to do a lot of pre-snap motion, so I think Memphis was ready for that. And that's something we've talked about in every game, is the fact that Memphis needs to start out strong on defense, and that's exactly what they did. They set the tone, and it's like you said at the top of the show, it's just something that we've gotten used to this year, is them setting the tone and them starting out the game like this, which is huge.
And the biggest thing is, this is not a normal, you don't line up like this normally as a defense. And what I like to see out of Adam Fowler, what we haven't seen in the past couple years, is sort of game plan for the specific team.
Yeah.
Chris Ball, Galen Scott back in the day really liked to stay in their base formations. And you see Adam Fowler, he knows what to take away. They loved this jet sweep motion, and he knew exactly how to take that away. JoJo, just great play, and the athleticism. And also, why would you try to block JoJo with your quarterback?
Bad idea. And K'Wan Baker is a really good receiver, somebody that, if you watch the game last year against Memphis, he had a great game. And I think he's really the focal point of their offense other than Trey Mentor. So to be able to tackle him in the open field for JoJo, I mean, that's a heck of a play.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. And that's just athleticism that you see out of this D-line. They may be small, they may be compact, but they definitely bring the boom, and they're athletic. And OB here, this is awesome. I mean, and you talk about, this is their base formation right here. They spread them out. Obviously, South Alabama does a good job of getting some spacing. But OB right here just absolutely destroys the right guard.
No, absolutely. And to me, as far as the defensive line goes, you have a lot of good players, but O'Brien Goodson is your most important player. It all starts up front with him. He wreaks havoc in the middle, which opens it up for guys like Bryce Huff and Joseph Dorcius. And this is what he does best, just lining up and attacking.
Coming right off the ball, getting to his near shoulder, and then just the finish by this defense. Look at this. You got four guys get to the ball, absolutely smother them 3 yards in the backfield, and you can't beat that.
And that's the biggest difference this year, is they are rallying to the football, which is something we haven't seen in the past. And I think that was a big emphasis for Adam Fowler, and it's obviously worked out very well.
Yeah, absolutely. First offensive play here. Let's see.
I think this is something we can start getting used to.
Yeah, and this is what I love here, is just the mad scientists here, Ryan Silverfield and Norvell, putting together a game plan where they're not going to go to that G lead like they did the first 2 games.
Right.
They run a counter here, and you'll see Joey pulls around as well as Manny Arona at right guard, and they open this bad boy up. And what I want to spot shadow, I'm sorry for the reverse here, but watch the left tackle, Obina. He is a former 4-star, big recruit out of Nashville, and he just absolutely destroys this technique over him and creates this lane himself. Absolutely.
Yeah, that
kills him. Look at that. That's a flat back right there.
We know the expectations he's had for a while, and 3 games in, I think he's really coming into his own. We know he hadn't played a ton of football before getting to the high school level, so to see the strides that he's taken and to be at this point, 3 games in is a good sign. Once again,
and Pop downfield with the blocking, but this one didn't go as well as last week.
No,
I will say that.
He
little Pop.
He gave it effort.
Yeah, he gave the effort, and that's what you like to see out of a play like this: is get downfield, try to get bodies on bodies, and get him into the end zone. Great run by Kenny Gainwell, by the way.
Yeah, he's.
And here's another view, and there you see right there. Look at that's a mauling. That's what we call a absolute mauling right there. That left tackle into the ground.
Wash, you get your steals, and then you just let Kenny Gainwell do the rest.
Are we gonna see Pop on this angle too? Look at that little speed.
And unfortunately,
that's
unfortunately he'll be out for the rest of the season with the knee injury. So that's a big loss on special teams.
That's somebody they're gonna absolutely miss. I think they're gonna find a replacement when you look at Calvin Austin back there at punt returner, and then I think seeing a lot more Antonio Gibson is a good thing.
Absolutely. It's somebody we've talked about a lot in the past couple weeks, so I'm excited to see what he can do in an extended role now.
Absolutely. Now, this play is out of this formation. In the first 2 weeks, we talked about it. They run G League every time.
Right.
And what you see here, one, is a missed assignment by the right tackle here, Scotty Dill. He's supposed to come down and hit this three technique. This three technique, for those that don't know, is the outside shoulder. They play the outside shoulder of the guard. He completely just, I guess it slipped his mind, and he gets in the backfield.
He went outside.
And the play's dead. And I also, to go along with the missed assignment, this is a play that they've ran a lot, and I think
they've seen this on film multiple times already.
Especially in short yardage, straight to the boundary. They love this play. They tighten up. They get the double type formation. It becomes pretty obvious. And it looked. I mean, for the rest of the game, they sort of went away from this. They didn't try to force it down their throat because they know that teams are going to start game planning it.
Yeah, and I think we even saw later in this game, we'll see them get a lot more creative in those short yardage situations because they know teams are starting to see that G power and G lead on film.
Yeah, and they like I said, Ryan Silverfield, coming from the NFL, he's a mad scientist with the run game.
Oh, absolutely.
The amount of diversity they have in that run game has been incredible since he's taken over with Justin Fuente. There was these inside zones, there was outside zone. That was it. With him, it has been. They diversify that run game so much,
and they disguise everything very well.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Speaking of Antonio Gibson,
yeah, we're gonna see a lot more of him. I believe before we get, Kadarian's gonna play in the slot, from what I saw on the depth chart from this week.
Yeah, that's what they had it listed as. I could really see it going either way because AG really has played a lot in the slot, and Kadarian Jones has played more outside. I think they're interchangeable, though. I think that's the best part about these receivers for the most part.
Obviously, you're missing Pop, but
right. But I think they do have guys that they can fill in there, and like I said, other than DeMonte Coxey, most of their guys are really interchangeable and can play the outside receiver and the slot receiver, which helps when you lose a guy like Pop.
And they're all sizable.
Yeah.
You have 6'1" and above in all your receivers now, and they're very physical. Right here, as you can see before we even play this, they are bailed off. Do you think they're scared of number 10 right here?
I don't think they want any part of DeMonte Coxey.
They are absolutely terrified of number 10 beating them deep.
10 yards off from the snap.
And in a very, very, very loose zone coverage, what he does is he takes this little, I don't even know, a little comeback route kind of, a little
hitch,
curl.
Hitch, curl. There's nobody
and
out
the
there.
one thing you see with Antonio Gibson, his run after catch ability is there.
Which, especially for a guy that's 6'2", 225, nobody wants to tackle that in the open field. I think he has a lot more speed than people think he does or give him credit
and some
for.
shake.
Yeah, and he's got some shake and obviously size. No, I mean, 190-pound defensive back trying to tackle a 225-pound receiver is not easy.
Look at poor number 22 right here.
He just Euro steps this dude.
Like one more time? Should we? A couple times. I'm sure you guys want that rewind, right? That's cool, a little shake.
He left that dude in the dust, continues to cut back field. He gave that dude a little shake too. So I think more Antonio Gibson is certainly a good thing for this team.
Absolutely.
And then this is just back to what you said, mad scientist, Norvell, play design. Give me my running back on a linebacker every day of the week.
Brady loves these wheel routes too.
Absolutely, and he can put touch on these wheel routes.
Oh, absolutely.
There's been a lot of criticism of his throwing, but his touch on a wheel route is actually pretty good.
I think this is a really good throw and an even better catch.
Middle linebacker. They
look at the dive layout there. That is just a beautiful ball, beautiful catch. But the linebacker is just. Let's go from the beginning here.
Well,
this linebacker is not in position at all. This middle linebacker is not in position at all to take Kyler Watkins.
Because watch, he has to go under the other linebacker just to get to him.
Exactly.
And you have a pick man there. I believe that's Joey.
You run a little drag right here and sort of pick off this linebacker, and there's no chance he's catching up to this dude. You see, he put his hand up.
He put his hand up.
Yeah.
He knew from the rip he had that
He
one.
knew it was over with.
Yeah.
Great play design and great catch by him.
And this is a guy I think a lot of people are excited about. Everett Cunningham coming over from East Mississippi Community College. We saw it in the spring game. We saw it in spring practice, fall practice. This dude can get to the quarterback. Also, Jaleel Clemens right here. He's your left defensive end. The bend there. You love to see bend from a defensive end. That is.
And the depth with this whole defense is just something we haven't seen.
Yeah, no.
It's absolutely awesome.
Not at all. So, I mean, right here, you're forcing that inside with Jaleel Clemens. He's coming down, forcing the quarterback up in the pocket, and then you have the stunt over here with Everett Cunningham coming inside and just making the play.
And let me say here, this is the cardinal sin by this left guard. You always stay on the penetrator, and the looper is secondary, and he just absolutely lets Everett Cunningham. But that's what you got to do. You got to confuse these O-lines into giving you these free sacks. And this is, again, what we've talked about the first 2 weeks. A 4-man rush landing.
Yeah, it's just
that in the past. That's not a thing.
No, not at all. And it's specifically play design. It's all it is.
Absolutely.
So on the front side of this play with Jaleel and OB, you're playing straight up, and on the back side, you're stunning Everett inside, and I believe it's Morris Joseph outside. Confuses the offensive line, and you have enough skill there to get to the quarterback, which is a lot different than we've seen in the past.
And I'll tell you, as a guard, a guy the size of Everett Cunningham and the athleticism of Everett Cunningham coming inside as a penetrator is just something you never want to see. And he has some pass rushing ability, but you have to block him. I'll say that. You have to block him.
All I can watch, I know Everett Cunningham makes a play, but all I can watch on that play is Jaleel Clemens because he's going to be a special football player.
And it's just so much depth. It's so awesome.
Defense is coming for Memphis. I know Memphis fans are excited.
So we didn't get the first part of this play, but this is what we call a tackle trap. You see Obina right here, number 77, coming across the formation. I think we have another view of this, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
But the open field, the downfield blocking, what I want to see here, though, get in the end zone. I like the cutback.
He made a couple nice moves. He did get tracked.
Angles happen, but you want to see it. Now watch here. This is what we call a tackle trap. Obina's going to come across the formation and kick out this end guy right there. And there's just so many lanes right here.
Right.
Obviously, there's an unblocked hat over here. I guess he's supposed to read him.
Yeah,
but
it could be an RPO.
Absolutely. So, but there's just look at that lane. I could drive a semi through that damn thing.
What is the defensive end doing on Dylan Parham?
So the way this is designed, Dylan has to get inside out. And I'm assuming this defensive end has B gap, so he's just keeping in his responsibility. But eventually, you have to make a play.
He's
right?
not playing hard at all. He just kind of
whatever. That's tough because you're sort of sealed.
Right.
But beautiful sort of again, mad scientist. This play is not run by many people in this conference or in the country.
Right.
Right. This is a lot of NFL teams like to run stuff like this, and they do a great job. Crease it, and he's off to the races.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are excited about Kylan Watkins, being the hometown kid and making plays for this team.
And the thing is, when Patrick got hurt, you're wondering about running back depth, how they're going to be able to respond, and they respond swimming.
Yeah, two 200-yard backs against South Alabama, which is something that this team has become known for, is having 200-yard backs. And also, the first 100-yard career games for both of these guys is pretty impressive.
That is awesome. So this is a well-designed play, and I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, so I know it's been a minute now, but if you can rewind the clock to the play before this, a 3rd and goal play, they come out with the same look, except Kadarian Jones was in the slot where Antonio Gibson is right now. DeMonte ran a rub route, Kadarian ran it out, and he was wide open, and Brady threw it a little bit outside. Kadarian laid out for it, missed it. So what Norvell does is he comes back with the same exact look.
You motion this guy in, Kadarian.
Right
here.
Because when they're looking at this, they're thinking, okay, they're going to come back to the same exact play because it worked and they were wide open. And Norvell just calls a great play and has Kadarian Jones come underneath, and nobody's expecting that.
And then inside, this is a basic power scheme. You bring in Dylan Parham and just wrap him around with a power pull. He's supposed to get up on this linebacker here. You just throw it inside. What you would like to see here is the right tackle keep this D end in a little more, but it works out enough. He gets enough on him to where it's sort of a walk-in touchdown here.
And you're banking on guys to kind of overcorrect on this anyway because they're flowing outside, and that's what you see from, I believe it's the outside linebacker up there, kind of flows too hard outside, and that's really what you are banking on this play.
And the amount of it's playing with your eyes. It's so easy to have dirty eyes on this play if you're a defensive player with the pull, with the route coming in behind it, with the outside sort of rub route. There's so many different components to that play that it just becomes confusing.
Yep.
Thomas Pickens does a really, really good job, and
he's really started to come on this year too.
What they do is they walk up these two guys. They're going to bring both of them, and they're running a speed option. Now, as a quarterback, the last thing you ever do on a speed option is let the read man make the play.
Absolutely.
But Thomas confuses the hell out of him, plays off this block, becomes the read man, and absolutely stuffs him.
Yeah.
And I think the reason he didn't pitch it is you got guys over here like Tim Hart who are out leveraging him to the play side. Austin Hall could have made the play if he pitches it too. So I think this was just a really good job, really good recognition by Thomas Pickens. And I guarantee they had a big dose of this in practice.
Yeah, it goes back to what you were saying earlier is with other defensive coordinators, they kind of threw out their base defense and said, we're good enough to stop you when they weren't. Then this is preparation and play design specifically for a team.
Exactly, and they love to get in the speed option. This absolutely defeats the speed option as quick as possible.
Yeah. So
and again, swarm to the ball. You got 3 or 4 heads on the ball, taking down the ball carrier. Now,
sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Okay, I have to pause this before we get into this. This is probably one of the big reasons that a lot of people talk about his downfield throw.
Absolutely.
Because, truthfully, Joey had 3 or 4 steps on him. He's got to loft it over his head. If he throws this pass against Navy or any of these conference opponents, it's getting picked.
Yeah.
And obviously he gets lucky here, man.
I mean, this should be, I'm not going to say easy pitch and catch because it is so far downfield, but, I mean, it should be easy pitch and catch.
Obviously, good pocket, only a 3-man rush, but this just got to put more on it. You got to put more on it.
That corner's playing so far inside that's an easy throw. Just throw it outside the numbers and you got him, but like I said, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah, if he throws that against Navy, it will get picked off.
Yeah.
So it's just something to look like.
That's a fortunate play. That happens maybe once or twice a season where you get players to mess up that bad and a ball falls right in your lap, but it happens.
And then Jonathan Wilson here just absolutely beats this left guard off the ball, sort of clubs him on the outside, and is able to get straight to the quarterback. It's just easy. Yeah. That's easy, and that's something in the past that hasn't been there.
Goes back to what we're saying. There's just so much defensive line depth, and you have Bryce coming off the edge, but you really don't have a ton of pressure from anywhere else. This is just Jonathan Wilson making a great play, getting in the backfield.
And it's a straight rush. There's nothing.
There's no stunts. There's no nothing. This is just a 4-man pressure.
Yeah, and these dudes just, if you can win your one-on-one battles, you're going to make plays like this all the time.
Yeah, and this becomes so important when you get into conference play because if you have the ability to beat offensive lines with a 4-man rush and play straight up and basically say our defensive line is better than your offensive line, you're going to win a lot of football games.
Yeah, and he just punches through the outside shoulder. 77 has no chance.
It's just speed and power right there. Jonathan Wilson's had a great season so far, too. This defensive line has just really been impressive.
And the thing is, you have these guys up front who have a lot of experience, and then you have 2 or 3 deep now.
Yeah.
In the first game, they hid some of the guys that they had that were brand new. And then you see the Everett Cunninghams come out. You see a bunch of other guys being able to get some meaningful minutes in play.
Absolutely. Once again, back to the hometown kid. Kylan Watkins had a massive game against South Alabama, and the offensive line was really a big reason why because he was getting to run through some pretty gaping holes.
And this right here is literally as basic of a run play as I could even tell you about. This is an inside zone to the right. And what happens here, normally what you're supposed to do is this back is tracking the back hip of the center, so it would be the left hip of Dustin Woodard right here, and that's where he's supposed to hit it. But he has great vision here.
This is
Manny Arona gets a little push back, but he stays connected and efforts this. closes him off, and it hits front side, and again, off to the races, easy lane.
It's incredible vision, and it's what you love to see from, a guy that hasn't been here for very long, and obviously did have some playing time at UT Martin, but that is just great vision to be able to see that hole, because a lot of running backs
hitting that inside zone, front side like that is not something you see a lot in this offense, and for him to actually recognize it and hit it is something really awesome. And also, I want to point out, DeMonte Coxey is absolutely the best wide receiver I've seen, 1,000-yard receiver last year, and look what he does for his backs. Locks on, gives him a little extra play. Get your hand off me, man. Come on now. This looks like the last play we'll be at here. And Austin Hall, this was awesome.
This is just having fun. This is just when you are absolutely dominating opponent and you get to have a little bit of fun.
And this is a good job bending the edge and making these guys step up and try to run for it. And good job by Joey. Is this Joey Bryant? Joey Bryant here, getting his head on the ball.
Just put his head on the ball, popped it out,
and did an easy
bounce,
return.
Bounce right into his
You're
hands.
welcome. You're welcome, Austin. You're welcome. That was an easy one.
Yeah,
a little celebration.
Doesn't get too much easier than that. But
now,
here
this
you
is
can
the thing.
You can really see it here.
Yeah, the head hits the ball and it pops
Put
out.
it right on his elbow. Not many quarterbacks are going to be able to hold on the ball. If you put the helmet right on the elbow, it's going to pop out.
Good job.
Sometimes the ball bounces your way perfectly too.
So I want to know, is Austin fast or not? Let's figure it out. What do you think?
I think he's decent. Yeah, he's a linebacker. He's an inside linebacker, and he kind of looked like he just put it on cruise control there. I mean, I don't blame him. If you got that wide open hole, just put it on cruise control and go with it. But that wraps up our plays from the South Alabama game. And Gabe, we are right on the horizon of what is usually the turning point game of the season against Navy. What does Memphis have to do on Thursday night at the Liberty Bowl to get the monkey off the back and beat Navy?
Limit mistakes, and that's it, because I know that D word that everyone wants to use, discipline, that's all you can say about Navy, because they don't get penalties. They don't fumble it normally. And they obviously don't turn the ball over much. So it's just something where you have to limit your mistakes, no missed assignments, nothing like that, because they're not a very aggressive team defensively, or, really offensively like that. So I obviously just limit mistakes and stay disciplined is all you have to do against this team, and you should come out with a victory.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better myself, because when you look back at this game last year, it's a game that Memphis should have won. Playing in the rain in Annapolis, go into the fourth quarter with the lead and fumble the ball, and that's what you're saying. There is limit turnovers, limit mistakes, because if you do make those mistakes, Navy is a team that will make you pay. Malcolm Perry's not a great quarterback, but he can run the hell out of the ball. He had 170 yards and 2 touchdowns against Memphis last year.
This team looks improved too. This Navy team looks improved, and when you look at the past 2 losses that Memphis has taken to Navy, there's been 8 turnovers combined in those 2 losses, and that's something you literally cannot do against this team, or they will make you pay. They are disciplined enough to figure it out. Ken Niumatalolo is not a guy that's going to have 2 down years in a row.
Right, and you got to stay disciplined. You got to know. You got to expect to play against the run all game.
Oh God,
that's what
defensively, it's not fun. They're going to come for your knees at all times, and for the viewer, it's probably not all that fun too, because they'll get to a lot of 4th and 1s and they'll go for it, because that is easy yardage for them as far as they're concerned.
Right, and I think there's 2 things that we've spoke ad nauseum about over the first 3 weeks of doing this is the defensive line depth is much improved. And Adam Fuller is going to game plan to his opponent. Those 2 things, in my opinion, are what is going to win Memphis' game. If Adam Fuller continues to game plan like he has been, and this defensive line continues to show what they can do, I think Memphis wins this game, because I think they can control the ball now. They have a great running game with 2 running backs who can carry the load. Brady White can make plays when he needs to, and this defense looks like it is top 2, top 3 in the conference.
Just one more note. For these first 2 games, Navy has been very stout against the run. They've only allowed 74 yards per game. Obviously, who they've played has had something to play into that. They've played Holy Cross and ECU to this point. It's going to be a challenge for those guys up front, but I think they'll meet it.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, Gabe and I will be tuning in Thursday night to see what Memphis does. It's obviously an important game, so everybody to make sure to check the game out, and we'll be back next week breaking it down, win or loss. hopefully for
It's going to be a fun one. Hopefully a win.
Hopefully for these Memphis fans, the Tigers get a win because Memphis fans hate Navy. They hate playing against Navy. They hate seeing the cut blocks and the runs.
But the mutual respect between these two teams and just what they do for this country is something that is always awesome to see. And those Memphis players rallying behind and going there to sing, be behind them when they sing their fight song and their alma mater it's really awesome.
Absolutely. Well, without further ado, we're going to get out of here. Meet us back here next week for the breakdown of the Memphis vs. Navy game.